I've never told anyone this story before. Honestly, I've spent years convincing myself it wasn't real, that I was just overtired or hallucinating from stress. But every so often, when I'm walking alone at night or I see a bus idling at a stop, the memory claws back. And when it does, it feels just as fresh as the night it happened. It was 2017. I was 21, working 2 part-time jobs and trying to finish school. I didn't have a car then, so I relied on buses. Most of the time it wasn't a problem. The route from my night job back to my apartment was predictable, if a little sketchy. But that night, something changed. My shift ended late, close to midnight. The air was heavy with fog as I walked the few blocks to the station. The streets were empty, silent in that way that makes you feel like you're trespassing in a place you shouldn't be. I remember the street lamps buzzing faintly, pools of yellow light swallowed by the mist. When I reached the bus stop, I thought I was alone. It was one of those little glass shelters with a bench, the kind where you can see your own reflection faintly if you look at the glass just right. I sat down, pulled out my phone, and started scrolling, trying to ignore how exposed I felt in the fog. That's when I noticed her. She was sitting on the opposite end of the bench, and I swear to you she hadn't been there when I arrived. She wore a long, dark coat buttoned up to her throat. Her skin looked too pale under the streetlight, almost gray, and her hair hung in damp strands around her face. But what I noticed most were her eyes. She wasn't looking at her phone. She wasn't staring into space. She was staring directly at me. At first, I did the polite thing. I gave her a quick nod, a small smile. Nothing. She didn't react at all. Her lips pulled into the faintest smile, too tight, too fixed. And then she began humming. It was so quiet I thought I imagined it. A few notes, off-key, repeating again and again. I shifted on the bench pretending to look at my phone, but I couldn't help sneaking glances at her. Her eyes never left me. Her lips barely moved, yet the humming kept going. Minutes dragged. No buses came, no cars passed. It was just me and her, and that awful tune. I considered leaving, just walking back to my job and waiting for sunrise, but then headlights appeared through the fog, and relief washed over me. The bus. The vehicle hissed to a stop, doors creaking open. The woman's humming stopped instantly. Without breaking eye contact, she rose and stepped onto the bus. I hesitated, but what choice did I have? I followed. The driver didn't greet me, didn't even glance my way. His face was hidden in shadow, cap pulled low. I dropped my fare in, moved down the aisle, and chose a seat near the middle. The woman was at the back, directly in line with me, staring. I told myself to relax. Maybe she was just odd. Maybe I was reading too much into it. But the ride grew stranger with every passing minute. We pulled away from the stop and began down the usual route, or at least it should have been the usual route. I knew these streets, every turn, every corner. But after a few blocks, I realized the driver hadn't taken the normal road. I leaned toward the front. Hey, isn't this... The driver didn't respond. The bus kept rolling, deeper into the fog. I looked around for other passengers, hoping to ask if I was just mistaken. But the bus was empty. It was only me and her. She leaned forward slightly, resting her chin on the seat in front of her, never blinking. Her lips parted, and the humming began again. Louder this time. My pulse pounded in my ears. I thought about pulling the cord, forcing a stop, but I was frozen. Something about her face, that sickly pale skin, those unblinking eyes, made it feel like if I moved too fast, she'd pounce. Finally, I tore my eyes away and looked out the window. My stomach dropped. There were no buildings, no street lamps, just darkness and mist. We weren't in the city anymore. I stumbled to my feet. "Hey! Driver!" The figure behind the wheel didn't react. His head twitched once, like a glitch in a video, then went still again. And then I heard footsteps, slow, deliberate. I turned. The woman was no longer at the back. She was halfway up the aisle, moving toward me. Her shoes didn't click. They didn't squeak. They made no sound at all. And yet I heard them as clear as my own heartbeat. Her humming never stopped. I backed up, gripping the seat handles. "Stay back." She tilted her head as if curious. And then, without moving her lips, without breaking that awful grin, she whispered, in a voice that seemed to come from the air itself, "You shouldn't be here." Every hair on my body stood on end. I yanked the cord desperately. Nothing. The bus didn't slow. The driver didn't turn. The woman was 3 seats away now. Her grin widened, revealing teeth too sharp, too uneven. I bolted toward the front, my hands slapped against the driver's seat. "Stop the bus! Please!" The driver turned slowly. And there was no face under the cap, just blank skin where eyes and a mouth should have been. I screamed. The bus screeched to a halt. I tumbled into the aisle, scrambled to my feet, and ran for the doors. They hissed open just enough for me to squeeze through. I fell onto the pavement, skinning my palms. When I looked up, I was at my stop. The familiar intersection, the glowing convenience store sign, the cracked sidewalk. Behind me, the bus doors shut. I staggered to my feet, heart pounding, and turned to look. The bus was gone, not rolling away, not fading into the fog, just gone. I stumbled home in a daze, not daring to look back. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't sleep for many nights after. To this day, I don't take buses after dark. I don't sit at glass shelters. And sometimes when the world is quiet enough, I swear I still hear it. That same off-key humming carried on the wind. And I know wherever she came from, she's still out there, waiting for the next last stop.